Welcome to One Chapter, One Thought. I'm Pastor Chris from Lincroft Bible Church in New Jersey, and every weekday I read one chapter of the New Testament and offer one brief devotional thought. Today's reading is from the Gospel of John, chapter 12. Jesus, therefore, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. So they made him a supper there, and Martha was serving. But Lazarus was one of those reclining at the table with Jesus. Mary then took a pound of very costly perfume of pure nard and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' disciples who was intending to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor people?" Now, Judas had said this not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief. And as he had the money box, he used to pilfer what was put into it. Therefore, Jesus said, "Leave her alone, so that she may keep it for the day of my burial. For you will always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." The large crowd of Jews then learned that he was there, and they came not for Jesus' sake only, but that they might also see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. But the chief priests planned to put Lazarus to death also, because on account of him many Jews were going away and believing in Jesus. On the next day, the large crowd who had come to the feast, when they had heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, took the branches of palm trees and went out to meet him and began to shout, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel." Jesus, finding a young donkey, sat on it, as it is written, "Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, the king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt." These things his disciples did not understand at first, but when Jesus was glorified, then they remembered that these things were written of him, that they had done these things to him. So the people who were with him when he called Lazarus out of the tomb and raised him from the dead continued to testify about him. For this reason, the people also went and met Jesus because they heard that he had performed the sign. So the Pharisees said to one another, "You see that you are not doing any good. Look, the whole world has gone after him." Now, there were some Greeks among those who were going up to worship at the feast. These came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, and began to ask him, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." Philip came and told Andrew. Andrew and Philip came together and told Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it to eternal life. If anyone serves me, he must follow me, and where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, the Father will honor him. Now my soul has become troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? But for this purpose I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came out of heaven, "I have both glorified it and will glorify it again." So the crowd of people who stood by and heard it were saying that it had thundered. Others were saying, "An angel has spoken to him." Jesus answered and said, "This voice has come not for my sake, but for your sakes. Now judgment is come upon the world, and the ruler of this world will be cast out. And if I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all men to myself." But he was saying this to indicate the kind of death which he was about to die. The crowds then answered him, "We have heard out of the law that the Christ is to remain forever. How can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man?" So Jesus said to them, "For a little while longer the light is among you. Walk while you have the light, so that the darkness will not overtake you. He who walks in the darkness does not know where he goes. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become sons of light." These things Jesus spoke, and he went away and hid himself from them. But though he had performed many signs before them, yet they were not believing in him. This was to fulfill the word of the prophet Isaiah, which spoke, "Lord, who has believed our report? To whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed?" For this reason they could not believe. For Isaiah again said, "He has blinded their minds and hardened their hearts, so that they would not see with their eyes or perceive with their hearts or be converted, and I heal them." These things Isaiah said because he saw Jesus' glory, and he spoke of him. Nevertheless, many, even of the rulers, believed in him, but because of the Pharisees they were not confessing him, for fear that they would be put out of the synagogue, for they loved the approval of men rather than the approval of God. And Jesus cried out and said, "He who believes in me does not believe in me, but in him who sent me. He who sees me sees the one who sent me. I have come as light into the world, so that everyone who believes in me will not remain in darkness. If anyone hears my sayings and does not keep them, I do not judge them, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He who rejects me does not receive my sayings, has the one who judges him. The word I spoke is what will judge him at the last day. For I did not speak of my own initiative, but the Father himself has also sent me, has given me a commandment as to what to say and what to speak. I know that his commandment is eternal life. Therefore, the things I speak just as the Father has told me." One thought. A major theme that runs throughout the Gospel of John is Jesus's hour. Repeatedly in the earlier chapters of John, Jesus tells his disciples that my hour has not yet come. For example, in chapter 2, verse 4, 7:30, and 8:20. But now, Jesus finally says, the hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified in verse 23. What Jesus means by this is that the stage has been set, and the events are beginning to be set in motion, which will ultimately lead to Jesus being crucified. We see that Jesus' glorification comes through crucifixion. The cross is not a defeat, but it's actually the means by which Jesus is lifted up and then draws all people to himself. It's also probably not a coincidence that this revelation of Jesus's hour, when he says, okay, my hour is now here, it occurs in the context of many Greeks or Gentiles wanting to come and spend time with Jesus, to come and seek Jesus. It's a very real preview of what will happen through the cross, where Jesus will draw all kinds of people, even Gentiles, to himself through his cross. And most profoundly, though, we see that Jesus' hour reveals God's glory. Jesus says the hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Now, that's quite astounding, right? That the cross is the very central piece by which God is glorified. It shows the depth and fulfillment of God's plan. All the promises, prophecies, and patterns of the Old Testament are all leading up to this point, leading to Jesus' hour. So we really see now that this is a pivot point in the gospel. It's a turning point where the Pharisees and those against Jesus have been conspiring to kill Jesus, and now the hour has come. Now the events that are leading to his crucifixion are set in motion, and this is all done for our good and for God's glory.